All right, so here we got my understanding is that your guy is resource guarding and it's getting people on a walk, right? And then inside, which I can't explain inside. I would have to text it. So for what I've researched and what I've seen, and my limited experience with it is, so a lot of the food people will try to really throw a lot of food at it. Um, when you talk to other trainers, you're whatever the dog's state of mind is in when you're giving them food, that's what you're getting. So if even if the dog is like, say you're walking, we're gonna pretend that this pole is a person. So say you're walking, and even if the dog is like right here, but it's staring at that person, and its mind is kind of crazy, right? So it gets into hard. You got to kind of watch a lot of body language stuff. And then we're giving the dog food at that moment, or if you're taking the food and even making them come away from whatever the stimulus is, you're rewarding that state of mind. So if the dog's like, "Hey, I'm gonna get that dude," you're saying in that moment, "Yeah, I want you to get that dude." Okay. So say that's a that's sweet girl. So say that's a person. You don't want to be like this, right? You can create a lot of space if it's possible. You can create a lot of space. Come on. The best thing to do, right? So if you're walking, this is what I do, like the reactivity dogs too, right? So if you're walking and that person's there, the best thing to do is kind of cross and go off. So that way you're in between the thing that it wants to get. That's ideal. Now, ideal is never really realistic, right? So, um, so then say you're stopping to talk to somebody. This is what I've seen. This is what I've seen a guy do. He'll have them good in a sit, right? And then so if the dog's starting to come in front of you, they want you to. This dude called it plant the flag. You put your leg there, and if you're on a harness, you need to get off the harness, because if you have control of the dog's head, you've already got the dog muzzled. So if you got control of the dog's head, you got control of the dog, right? She's already tired. They were out in group. Um, but if you ever stop, and this is even when there's not something there, if you ever stop and this dog's coming in front of you, like for a resource guarder, you need to, because when you're in front, you know, I would start like this with my foot in front, and then you can work to where you're just standing, right, as the situations get better. What's up, girl? Ready? And you want to, even then you want to create distance, right? How's it going? Right. And plus that way, right, so if you're in between the stimulus, even if it's a tight space, then you can reach your leg. Let me do it going this way, right? You can reach your leg out to block them, right? And your dog's not going to be able to bite you because you got the muscle on, right? So say you're walking up, you're in a tight space, right? And you're walking up to somebody, then now as your dog you can do backwards pressure, and you keep your foot, right? When they try to come across, you keep your foot in front of them so they can't go. And you can practice like with a pole like this, right? So that way you get your mechanics down. And you want your dog to be walking good with you. I know you've done a ton of work with it, so I'm sure your walk is pretty good. But if you normally let the dog walk like this, which I don't tell everybody their dog has to walk right with them, but in your situation, I probably would, right? So if the dog's way out there, he's in charge. He's like thinking on his own, right? Oh, there's a thing. Whereas if the dog is with you, he's going to feel more safe, right? And he's going to feel like you're in control of it. So the resource guarding kind of comes from, and a lot of reactivity too, comes from they don't trust you in the situation, or they're worried about the situation, right? So if you got a good walk, and look, you can let the dog walk like this your whole walk. Man, I don't know about that, because if he's seeing things and building up that state of mind, right? That's I tell people, reactivity people, to do that. If you let your dog walk however you want, that's fine. So as long as it's not pulling you around. Then when you see whatever it's reactive to, get it close to you. That way it's less likely to react. And if you have to use pressure or correct, right? And people will tell you not to correct it, that's false. So you want to go, here's the thing with that. You want to go, I'm not good at doing this kind of stuff. I'm much better talking to people when I can keep my brain straight. Anyways, see, now I messed myself up. Uh, what was I talking about? I went off on a tangent, right? It's a good girl. Huh? Yeah, so what else? If the dog, so say you're walking and you slip on the leash or whatever, the dog gets kind of in front of you, you're gonna, so here's the other thing you do. Oh, that's what I was gonna talk about. Lock, load, explode, right? So you wanna redirect or correct more at the front end of the loading, and it gets into another lot of body language stuff you can't. It's hard to say because it depends on the dog. So say is starting to get excited with that person right there. You can just you can do it when you turn around. You keep going until it's not looking anymore, right? And then as long as he's walking with you, you can then cut him off, right? So you have your out. If he's in front of you, you don't want to do inside turn. You have your outside turn. It's just like if you did heel drills to start with. You have an outside turn, you have an inside turn, pushes him back. If the dog's already in front of you, say he's real excited, he might need, or he's loading, right? You might need a little physical. I like the butt pinch and the back up, get him back focused on you. Then now you can reapproach, right? You're gonna look funny like a yo-yo. Good. All right. And you can practice this a lot with nothing, right? Just a pole or whatever. You just walk, and then it becomes that butt pinch. Good. Right? I couldn't get it. So that's using the food, right? I wouldn't use food when there's an actual person. I would use food a ton when you're practicing mechanics, right? And getting the whole system down. And then when there's a person there, because I worry more about the state of mind that the dog's in, right? Come on, buddy. Right. So again, the food is going to reinforce that state of mind. It's not just because it's sitting or doing it; it reinforces that state of mind. Right. So if the dog's like, I got to protect mama from that scary thing, and we're giving it food, we're reinforcing that state of mind, even if they're walking really nice. Now, if the body language is nice and relaxed like this, hey, use food all you want, right? There's a person that the dog would normally be freaked out about. He's got nice body language. The tail's soft, his ears aren't, the body's not facing like doing like this. I always forget the ears thing. But forward is always bad, right? Back is interested. Forward is bad. Like forward is I gotta get that guy. And then a lot of times you'll see them start walking stiff, right? They're walking stiff. The body's nice and soft, and there's something that would usually freak out on. Hell yeah, give it food. But it's right. The body language part of it is hard. Do 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 do. Where you going, girl? Um, right. So, and here's another one. A lot of people like to stop and stand still. I'm in the camp of that's super hard on the dog, right? So, say the stimulus thing is coming, and you create some distance, and you get this, and you plant your leg, right? Plant your flag, they call it. That's hard on the dog because his mind is going blah 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 blah. So I'm more in the camp of keep moving, use that energy to stay with you, right? Do like a figure eight, an outside turn to an inside turn. And then you can do that as they're coming. So some people will say that it takes forever for redirection. So it depends on what you want to do and what's working for your dog. If you're trying to redirect and it's just you would do the 180 and go back the other way until it stops looking back. Then you can reapproach, right? And again, I wouldn't use food here, not for this, right? Um, so then you have the 180 go away, then reapproach. And the important thing about when you go the other way is you want to go until the dog stops looking at that and is then walking with you, right? And then, so for pulling, I would use food right there, but for this, I wouldn't, right? As in when the dog's, other than whatever. I don't know where I'm going. Puppies are killing me. So when it stops looking back and is walking with you, take 2 or 3 steps. Don't immediately turn back. Take 2 or 3 steps. Got them all over the place. So the stimulus is over there. The dog stops looking. Take 2 or 3 steps, and then now reapproach, right? And then it gets to, like, when you get close to that stimulus, you're not, like, if you're pretty close to the stimulus, you're not going to 180 it, right? So you can do a 180. You can do a figure 8 to go back, and then you have 360s, right? So you could, like, say you're close to the stimulus, boom, you're going to break the vision. The key is breaking the vision. That's why the inside turns are much better, because you break the vision. But if the dog's already in front of you, you can't do a inside turn. I wish my brain would work linearly when I'm by myself. So you have a 180 till the dog disengages from the stimulus. You have the figure 8, right? So that way you can so you can reapproach. And then you have a 360, get out of dodge, right? And if the dog's freaking out, don't start yelling, "Hey, get it out, get it out!" If the dog's barking and freaking out, I don't know if that's what you're going is going on until we actually meet, and then or I'll find out later message. If you just start yelling at it, you're just adding energy when you're trying to make it all calm, right? And I would do, anytime a dog tries to come in front of you, I would just kind of like this, just kind of block, right? Everything you're gonna want to do is just be neutral and calm, right? So if the dog's freaking out, do your butt pinch back up, and you work on this while nothing's around, right? That way he has something to fall back on when he feels like he's got to guard you from that approaching stimulus. He's got something to fall back on. If you are only trying to do it in the moment, it's really hard. Now, I'm not big on working. There's working for and working in, right? I'm not big in not working in. Who that, man? Ha ha ha! The biker got a bunch of Saints stuff on, like the bike suit. I'm a Saints guy. So what was I talking about? Oh, some people say don't ever go out when, don't stop walking, right? But try to do some work when it's nothing, so he has something to fall back on. So there's working for and working in. Do we have to do a show a correction? I don't think so. Let's not worry about corrections right now. We'll try to go as soft as you can be and as firm as you need to be. Oh, that's correct. So redirection. So say the dog like lunges, you can correct. So the dog lunges, right? You're trying to go shoulder length to the side. You correct the lunge starts going away. It doesn't make the dog not like that stimulus anymore. That's crazy talk. At least that's what a lot of people say. Depends on who you talk to. And they're all successful and they've all done good and all the dogs are good. So the methodology or ideology doesn't matter. It's what works for the dog and what you can and will do, right? Like if I don't know, I'm going off. Oh, because I didn't eat breakfast today. I'm going off the rails. Going off the rails on a crazy train, right? I don't need to say all that stuff anymore. The butt pinch back up, get them focused on you. You got the 180, You got the if you stop, if you ever have to stop and the dog starts getting in front of you, do that so it can't. Uh, I lost my train of thought. You got your outside turn, inside turn, figure eights, uh, and then the 360 so you can get out of dodge. That's strict. This is all strictly on walks, right? Um, Hello. Inside. Inside's the same thing, right? You go to the door, put the dog on the bed. I'm sure you've probably got a place or a go to bed command because you've done a lot of work with them. Put the dog on the bed. It starts to get up. On the bed. Um, this is another one that gets iffy because typically you want the scary thing that's coming over. You want them to throw food to the dog and then behind the dog so the dog disengages, right? So the person sees the food. It's kind of it's not giving it. It's kind of tossed. Like say the dog's right there, you would toss the person would. I'm out of hot dogs. Person would toss the food, right? And then from there you would throw one back behind it, right? So that way the dog disengages. Now, one thing I don't know about that exercise. I mean, that's typically if they're scared, right? So the fearful. I'm not sure how that translates to resource guarding though. But you want to meet the person and you shake their hands, right? So the resource guarder sees that everything's okay. Again, you want to be, come on, right? So the person comes, you have them in a sit, you're kind of in front, right? And you talk to the person and shake their hand. Dog gets up, nope, sit. Just keep resetting it as you have to. And if your leg's right there, chances are it's not going to. And then, so that would be your greeting. And then you would go, all right, go to your bed, place, whatever you do. Um, I did. I had somebody they had a dog that would do that and was great going on the bed. But once the visitor got up and went anywhere, that dog was off to go bite him in the butt, right? So we did the whole throw food to counter condition the movements, right? It would be like throw food, stand up, sit down, throw food, stand up. Didn't do nothing. We did that. I can't tell you how many times we did that. This was back when I was still really trying to do positive only. It just wasn't realistic for this dog in this situation. So it depends on how much it's been practiced. Um, and it goes along with fix your relationship with others, right? So say you tell your dog to sit and it doesn't sit. Well, now when you try to do important stuff, so if that's going on, then you need to fix all that. And it would just be you tell him to sit, he doesn't sit, you do your hand motion, right? And make sure you get it every time. Don't let him run off. I need to get you back inside, right? Is it that hot? No, I don't even know where I'm going, anyways. So, like, say you tell your dog to sit or go to bed, by your like even when nothing's around. So this is what I do if I say go to the bed, right, and they don't go to the bed. Your negative consequences, you grab the collar and you make them go to the bed. Don't go back to food because that's bribing, right? So if you're bribing to get what you want, when you have these situations, they're not respecting what you said, right? So and you don't have to be all rough and mean about it. It's just you just grab the collar, go. So the idea with using pressure like that, and then say you have a visitor, you're gonna want your leash on it. So if the dog tries to go, bam, it can't go nowhere, right? So even with a muzzle on, if you have a visitor, the dog runs and bumps somebody with the muzzle, it still feels good to the dog. It doesn't feel as good as a bite does, right? But it still feels good to them. It releases stress. Um, Here, girl. Come here, girl. I need to shut my mouth. We got to get around the corner. Oh. All right, let's put this up. Right, so your leash is going to prevent everything. What's going on, buddy? What else? I think that's all. All right, I'm done. Brain dead.